My name is Solagbade, and I'm going to react to this lady's discussion of the explanatory memorandum for the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015. Very intelligent young lady, articulate. The only thing is that I have an issue with the fact that she was presenting this thing and said the minute you have it, you can run with it as a victim of violence, whether you are male or female. No, that's not true. And my experience is proof of it. And I'm going to introduce myself by telling you about my family in a little bit, and then you can check my channel to see the videos about me and some of my stories. Please listen to my analysis of what this lady says in her presentation, okay, and listen to some of the highlights I will bring out from the explanatory memorandum itself. In fact, some people will be telling you to go and do those same things that are against the law in there, and I will tell you examples.
Hi there. Is there any law in Nigeria that prohibits domestic violence in people's private life? Is there any law that protects domestic violence victims? Is there any law that makes sure that offenders of domestic violence are punished? The answer to that is yes. And I'm about to tell you the laws that exactly guide and protect people from any form of violence in Nigeria. If you want to hear more about it, so there are exactly two laws that I know of currently now. One is the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015, which the National Assembly enacted, and there is another one that is Protection Against Domestic Violence Laws of Lagos State 2007. The one for Lagos State is particularly to Lagos State since it was enacted by the Lagos State House of Assembly, but that one actually covers more. It covers protection order, covers if you can bring a complaint if as an external person, covers prohibition, even has a response team. So I'm going to be talking about the Lagos State one next week, such that if you want to reach out to the response team or you want to, ask the court for a protection order, you can actually do that. But so today, what exactly does the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act provide? This act particularly prohibits any form of violence in any public or private life. It states how a person can be protected, and it also explains that the kind of punishments that an offender will have if they are the one, instilling that violence in another person. So let's go right into it. Section 2 talks about the infliction of physical injury on a person. So if for any reason you are inflicting physical injury on a person, it is an offense. And that offense provided for in section 2 says that if a person, you deliberately and willfully by your own self, you willingly cause injury, or use some form of substance, a weapon, something to inflict injury on another person by yourself, that is an offense. If you are found guilty, it's an offense, and you'll be sentenced to imprisonment for not less than 5 years or a fine of 100,000 naira, or you can even have both. So it's an offense to inflict physical injury on another person. In the event that a person is inflicting physical injury on you, it is an offense under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. And so you can sue for that. You can report to the police. You can make sure that you receive a court order to restrain or refrain that person from coming anywhere close to you. In case you don't know this, here it is. I know that maybe that's one of the reasons why some people don't leave, because they're like, what's gonna happen? Who's going to hear me? How am I going to get any remedy? What's going to be of my case? Are people not just going to make me a laughing stock? No, people are not going to make you a laughing stock. You can actually make sure that this offender gets punished for whatever they are doing, for any form of violence. Now, in the event that you don't even willfully do it, right, but you attempt to do it, you attempt to inflict physical injury on another person, there's also punishment for you if you are doing that, if you make an attempt to do that. If you are found guilty, the term of imprisonment for that is not exceeding 3 years or a fine of 200,000 or both. So in case you think, oh, you just made an attempt to do that, if you are found guilty while you made an attempt to inflict physical injury on another person or cause violence to another person, there's also punishment for that. In the event that you didn't make an attempt, but you helped the person that wanted to make the attempt, or you helped the person that did it, you aided, you assisted that person, there's also punishment. So know that any person that is inflicting physical injury on you can be punished under this law. So please don't be quiet. Another section of this law is section 14. So section 14 provides for emotional, verbal, and psychological abuse. In the event that a person is willfully inflicting emotional, verbal, or psychological abuse on another person, it is also an offense. It is an offense to inflict abuse emotionally, verbally. So if you're saying words that you are verbally abusing somebody, or emotionally abusing somebody, or you're psychologically abusing somebody, you can actually bring an action. It is an offense. You can report, the police can investigate, and that offender would be jailed for it. So don't keep quiet. And so this provision says that a person who causes emotional, verbal, or psychological abuse on another, you commit an offense and is liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 1 year and to a fine of 200,000 naira or both. In the event that you make an attempt to cause emotional or verbal or psychological abuse on another person, you also commit an offense and you may be liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months or to a fine not exceeding 100,000 naira or both. And also, if you're aiding, you're assisting somebody in doing it, there's also punishment for you. Now, the last one, which is probably like the juiciest of it, is Section 19. Section 19 provides for spousal battery. So the event that a person who batters his or her spouse, note that it says his or her spouse. So whether you are the he, you are battering your spouse, the she, or you are the she, battering your spouse, the he, it applies to you. So in the event that a person batters his or her spouse, you commit an offense and you are liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 3 years or to a fine of 200,000 naira or both. Also, just as the former provisions, if you make an attempt to cause spousal battery, if you make an attempt to batter your spouse, there is also punishment for you. There is also a fine for you. There is also imprisonment for you. In the event also that you are helping, you are aiding, you are assisting somebody to batter his or her spouse, there's also that. Or it's you that they give the work to do. They say, go and beat this person somewhere. There's also punishment for that. And this is all an offense under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. It's a criminal offense. It's an offense. And if the police should investigate the matter and the judge finds the offender guilty, all this punishment that I've read out is what's going to happen to the person. And I know that, yes, this is so much more than that. People are going to say, how long would it take? When would it happen? Is it not better if you know that something can be done than you stay there thinking, nothing can be done, so let me just stay here? Don't stay. This is my own way of saying don't stay. I mean, leave as fast as you can. Let the offender be punished before you start reasoning any other thing. And so next week, I'm going to talk about the protection orders, and even us as external people, as family members, as loved ones, as pastors, as sisters in the body of Christ. If you say that somebody is going through domestic violence, what can you do? Can you bring a complaint? Can you make anything happen on behalf of that person? And so next week, I'm going to talk about that and just really explain so much about it. If you have any questions as regards this, please just drop it in the comment section and I'll be glad to talk to you about it. Thank you for watching today's episode of What Does the Law Say? I'll see you next Thursday. Bye for now.
Now, I have 6 kids with my ex-partner. In 2018, I was invited to the Muson Center by the DSVRT. At that time, they were called the Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team. Now they are called the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency. I was invited to be a panelist during the Domestic and Sexual Violence Awareness Month. There was a kind of symposium that was organized, and they had female victims of domestic violence and male victims of domestic violence, both survivors. And I was invited to speak on behalf of men on the culture of silence as it affects male victims of domestic violence. And I still remember how at the end of the event, when I came out of the hall, several of the women who had been in the hall, because the hall was actually packed full, some of them came and hugged me, and they expressed to me their appreciation for the way I shared my story and how they had learned that they needed to control their mouths and some other things like that. Okay, so I do believe that I need to continue this work I'm doing, because I do know the difference it made. Just opening up as a man and telling them what was done to me and how it made me feel and how it damaged me. I think it's important for men to begin to open up. I hope those of you who are men will stop thinking of maybe it making you look bad and understand that we need to show our strength by being willing to be vulnerable. This invitation came after about 1 year of my going there repeatedly to report all kinds of injuries, including a complete left elbow dislocation, hot water being poured on me with my skin peeling, various injuries to my body, my eyes getting repeatedly blood clotted, and so many things like that. I was always going. I even went to the commissioner's office with a letter with my second son accompanying me, who testified to the fact that hot water was poured on me and all of that. In all of this, what I'm saying is that from the time I began visiting the office, it took approximately 1 year before, if I actually had to make a threat one day that, look, all this while you've been giving me letters to this lady, she would take letters and tear them and tell me she did not have time for rubbish. And I will come back and I will tell you guys, and you will give me another letter or tell me to do something else, send me somewhere else, including when I was talking about the fact that my kids were going to become violent. I was worried. I had been saying this all over the place. I was trying to follow the system. You see, I was trying to make sure I did not allow the stereotype to be used to judge me. And I depended on the system to tell me what to do. These were organizations that were put there. I'm not saying they hated me. I'm just looking at the fact that they seem to have a laid-back approach to addressing my issues. But I saw the way they would become very gung-ho, very animated the minute it was a woman. So one day I accused them. I said, because I'm not a woman, you guys have just been ignoring me for about a year. And look at how long I've been coming here. You've never gotten that woman to show up in this office in 1 year. She mocks me in the house. She and the children tell me that I just go and report and nothing ever comes out of it. You know what? I'm going to go on social media. I'm going to post what my experience is. And I walked out of the place. That was the first time. I just got called and it turned out to be the head of the agency. And that was the first time I met her. And that was the first time she was called down to the office. I think they had said they were going to, if she didn't come, they were going to send the police or something. She showed up there for the first time. I cannot go into any more details beyond that. It's not necessary. Important things, I still didn't get the results I wanted. But I am grateful for the effort that was made by the coordinator of the DSVH at that time, because he did give me some leverage and some reprieve, but it was way below what I needed. And over the years, eventually I just decided that, look, there's only so much they can do for me. So that's one of the reasons why today I still continue this struggle. I'm still on my own. When it concerns saving my kids, it's still me against the system. Again, I'm saying it. I'm not saying anybody is against me. I'm just saying that they don't seem to be particularly keen to go out of their way to solve a problem that will save my kids from becoming damaged. As it is now, my 3 kids, my 3 remaining kids, the one are below 18, she just has a way. It doesn't matter what she says or does. It doesn't matter what I report about. She just has a way. I complain, but she can do and undo. It doesn't matter how many times I report. And then I'm told I can get a lawyer and I just smile as if I haven't tried. Why should I throw money at something that is going to eventually bite me in the bum? I know what I'm talking about. I am not confident in the system that is run. I don't have trust in the court system. No, whether family court or otherwise in this country. I don't trust 99% of the professionals I'm dealing with based on the experience I've had over 10 years. That is the truth. So no time was I ever called up by any agency for abuse of any time inflicted on this woman that she complained about. Not once has she ever gone to report that she had any injuries or whether any abuse or anything. In fact, she would always brag that I was always one running up and down and that she didn't have time for that nonsense. So you know where the power lies. And when you say power, understand that I chose not to exercise power in that regard. Now what I'm saying is, I have kids. 3 of them are now above the age of consent. The other 3 are minors. It's the other 3 that really are my headache right now. The 3rd son I have, who is 19, I'm okay with him now. I'm working with him. He had some issues before. I've helped him out of those issues. He's steady now. He's working with me. We're planning to travel. I've got his travel documents for him. I take action based on the support I'm given. And what I found out was that the system is rigged against me, even though they told me to trust the system. I trusted the system. I was exposed to massive amounts of secondary abuse in various quarters, and I'm going to be telling you the story about that in my videos. I'm going to be giving you examples. I'm going to show you letters. I'll simply hide the name of the organization or the individual, and I'll be telling you what was done to me in those places as I went to each place. Believe me, the system is rigged against you if you're a man, and believe me, when you go through it, you probably end up more traumatized than before you went to them. Beware, because this lady is telling you the law is on your side and the law will enable you to get justice. Don't believe it. I'm not telling you to say that the system won't work for you. I'm telling you, don't be too optimistic. Understand that you need to study the people you are dealing with, the human beings that are going to help you, because they are not interested in that law. I can tell you that for real, and you will hear me when I'm discussing the details of the law. When I'm just going to be referring to what she said and a few screenshots of the document itself. Then there's going to be a link in the description box for this video. You can download it and read it. Don't think that because it's written there in black and white, that means they're just going to implement it in your favor. It's not. That doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So I have 3 kids. I have been battling to get all the agencies and organizations and all that, and I keep hearing all kind of conflicting advice from so-called professionals. 9 times out of 10, those people don't even want you. You see, they just want you to get out of their faces. They don't want to do anything. They just want their salary to come. And you are a nuisance because you are coming with something that's going to make them sweat. And they don't want to sweat. They just want their salary to come. They didn't take those jobs because they had a passion for it. Understand me. There are exceptions, but there are very few and far between. And most of those people who are exceptions, they don't even want to rock the boat because they don't want to lose their jobs. Salaried people should not, in my own opinion, be involved in advocacy work of this kind. It's not good. They will not be able to do their best because they're always going to be worried. How do I feed myself? In Nigeria, you lose your job, you are in trouble. And then we do advocacy to lose your job, you're in double trouble. Because the people that you were fighting against that got you to lose your job can make your life miserable as a person who no longer has a job. So there are many things working against you, especially when you are a man. But I've seen women also who have been disadvantaged by the system because their male partner had money and used the state resources against them. Believe these are real stories. Now, the point I'm making is that some people have been telling me that because my kids are still with the abusive mother, that's the narcissistic mother, my children are being damaged, therefore why should I be trying to tell other people about advocacy? I should first of all go and get my kids and save my kids. I disagree. I completely disagree. In fact, telling my story about the battle I'm having to fight, even with people that are supposed to be acting in my best interest, I'm fighting battles against them because they are working against me in connivance with my ex-partner. I should speak up so that other men don't fall into this trap of thinking the system can work for them. What I have seen, the system works against you, even though they tell you to trust the system. They told me to trust the system, then they turned the system on me. I'm telling you, and I'm calling this out. I'm saying it now without apology to anybody. Why? Because I truly want to act in love. I don't want to be a person that is speaking with two sides of the mouth, which is what a lot of them have done to me. Just be clear. I can back up my claims. And the thing I'm saying is this: for people to want to tell me that then the system, despite the fact that the system is fighting against me and preventing me from exercising my right to access my kids and give them the support they need to escape the abuse that they're going through, but they still come tomorrow and come and blame you and tell you that it's your fault that your children are there. What I know, I will share it with the world. Any man that's going through what I'm going through should have this thing and be forewarned and forearmed, so that before he gets himself spending money with the wrong professional, he will at least know that, okay, let me ask a few questions based on what Tayo has said, so that I know exactly the kind of person I'm dealing with. If you know the right questions to ask, if you know the kind of thing that have been done to me, at least to guide you when you're dealing with them, so they don't do the same thing to you. It's very important. So that's why I'm putting this this preamble here, so you understand what you're dealing with. I am a real survivor, okay, and nobody can tell me I'm not qualified to speak on this matter. In fact, what I know can save a lot of you from secondary abuse, because that is what has been visited on me repeatedly in various quarters. So I want to spare you that pain. Now, having said all of that, there is a possibility that you will see some people that will do something in your best interest, but understand that you're going to do a lot of hard work to get those people to do their jobs. But if you know as much as I'm going to tell you through the videos I'm going to produce, okay, on this platform, on this channel, at least it will guide you to go about what you want to do to get help more intelligently. And I think that's making a difference like that. If I had somebody doing what I am doing now, if I had somebody doing it, all my Google searches and all my searches everywhere else that I was trying to learn for over more than 10 years, at least I would have gotten better results. I would have known what to expect from some of the places I went, instead of allowing myself to go there thinking that I was going to be helped only to have everything turned on me. I mean, even in police stations, it was crazy. So ladies and gentlemen, you are about to enter into my world. I have no apologies for speaking the way I'm speaking now, because I have tested the system. The system has shown itself not to be capable of protecting me, and definitely they don't want to protect my kids. In fact, it's almost like they are determined to make sure I fail as a male victim or a male survivor. It's almost as if they don't like my story. There are some women that have been in positions where I went to look for support, to look for intervention. The way they treated me, it was like they were very angry that I was a man whose story was true, whose story was genuine as a victim, and they did not want my story to go to be known. It was like they wanted to find a way to frustrate me so that I would give up and walk away. This is my reality, and I'm telling you, if you have a son or any other male loved one, you will not want him to experience what I've experienced. I don't want any man to experience what I've experienced, because not everybody will survive it the way I have. I'm strong. I'm very strong. And I don't think many men have the kind of strength I have. The inner resilience I have, most people do not have it. So I do not wish it on anybody else. That is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I know that what I'm doing matters. So let's go through some of the screenshots I've taken from the explanatory memorandum. So here you have, I think this was the first page, the definition. Okay, an act to eliminate violence in private and public life, prohibit all forms of violence against persons, and to provide maximum protection and effective remedies for victims and punishment of offenders, and for relevant related matters. Well, if you look at that, that's like it simply covers everything, doesn't it? Isn't it amazing how so much of this is already happening in Nigeria and continues to happen, and nobody ever, even those who know the Lord, don't even bat an eyelid when they see it happening. The only time I realized that actually there was actually a law that addressed literally all the things that the mother of my children have been doing to me was when I was being interviewed by the channel's TV journalist. She was one that said, "Oh, Mr. Solagbade, do you know that this lady has broken so many laws? These things you've shown us, these things, this evidence you provided for us, this woman is actually breaking that. There are laws she has broken already." I didn't know, and I didn't know they were punishable offenses. So it was because of her that I then revisited the internet to do a search, and then I found the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. I didn't know, I had no idea, and I'd been relating with all these government agencies all the while. They never pointed me to this document, neither did they mention it to me. So that says a lot, doesn't it? I'm not saying they hated me, I'm just saying for some reason they knew about it, they knew the existence of the document, but they never told me that, they never told me any of those things. It's funny. Anyway, this is another page. You can see there one of the key points. I don't know what to call it technically, but it talks about inflicting physical injury on a person. That happened to me quite a bit. You can go through my stories in my channel. A person who willfully causes or inflicts physical injury on another person by means of any weapon, substance, or object. In my case, the weapons that were used against me, glass, and there was the one where urine was poured on, where there was an attempt, it didn't succeed. I dodged on 2 separate occasions. Urine and excreta in a paint bucket. She tried to pour them on me. Second time, it short-circuited my laptop through the keyboard. It was a crazy period. I went to Igbobi, the orthopedic hospital. My elbow, complete dislocation. I had hot water poured on me by her. I was peeling like a chicken for 3 solid weeks. Took me to heal. I had so many injuries to my eyes. My eyes were always blood clotted all the time. I had all kinds of injuries on my body. I had a gash on my forearm. That one was one that happened just before the pandemic of coronavirus lockdown. I think it was about February 2020. She actually got, for the first time ever, that was when she was detained for 24 hours. She actually slept in a cell. That was the first time, and it was a woman that put her in there based on what she saw. So what I'm trying to say is that this happened to me quite a bit. All right. The thing is, I didn't even know that I had anything I didn't know there was punishment associated with it. You would have heard the lady Ariyike in her video what she said. So I don't want to repeat it. I just wanted to just share my own personal experience of this particular kind of abuse with you. All right. The next one, willfully placing a person in fear of physical injury. And remember, even the person that's kind of is an accomplice also has punishment. A person who willfully or knowingly places a person in fear of physical injury commits an offense and is liable on conviction in the term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years, or to go on a fine not exceeding 200,000 or both. Now, this one got me to a point where I was locking myself up in my room. If she was around, I wanted to lock myself in, and if she was, it was one thing when she was not around that I would go out. It was a crazy way to live. I was always on. You literally had to tiptoe. It wasn't like I was afraid of her. It was just that I didn't want the drama. You got to understand. So I was not in my best state of mind at all. So it's a terrible period of my life. I will never ever wish it on my worst enemy if I had one. Right. Next one. Damage property with intent to cause distress. Oh, this one. Even my computers, my clothes, tear my clothes, break my things, break the door of the house, break windows, break louvers. It was just, that's just, I cannot remember how many times I fixed doors, windows. Look, forget it. That I bought louvers, I've forgotten it. It was a terrible period of my life. I was just, how you are struggling, and then you find yourself having to use the little money you're able to make, that you're providing for the children, and at the same time trying to just make ends meet to run your business, and then you have to take part of your money and still go to fix things, because the landlady will come and complain that her house is being destroyed and things like that. Nobody will ever face her and challenge her. It was always me. All the abuse I went through and everything, my neighbors still went and reported to the landlord and the agent, and they invited me and said my family was causing nuisance, and it was me that they called. They didn't call her. Even though I was the victim getting beaten up and going to the hospital, it was I who was still called, and I was being scolded by my landlady. It was crazy. So I'm just trying to tell you the ramifications of this thing. If you think it's a joke, well, think again. All right. Let me go to the next one. Emotional, verbal, and psychological abuse. This one, I've said it in many of the interviews I've granted. the things she called me, the things she said to me. So watch my videos, you'll see them. There are links to most of them in the description box for every video I publish on domestic violence. Just take a look, decide on which one you want to watch. I try to mention as many of those things. There are so many things I didn't remember, but I just did my best to put all of them in each of the videos. So if you watch as many of the videos as possible, you kind of get a total picture of what I went through by way of emotional, verbal, and psychological abuse. It was terrible, in front of my kids, in front of neighbors, in the middle of the night, to make sure that everybody heard her. That was what she would do to me. All right. Then this one, abandonment of spouse, children, and other dependents, sustenance. This is the one I have refused to do, and this is one of the things I wanted to tell all of you. I have had a government agent, somebody actually functioning as a social welfare officer in the ministry. I went there to her office. She told me to walk away, to go away and go and marry somebody else, and told me I should forget that I had children. There is this thing here says that it is a crime for me to abandon my spouse and children and other dependents without sustenance. And this woman was telling me pointedly that you don't have family, you don't have children, no. You better just forget about them and go and marry another wife. How old are you? This is what a government worker who was a social worker was telling me to do. Now, when I went to another office, which was a bigger office, a bigger parastatal, where I now told her, this woman said this. That person was trying to gaslight me by trying to tell me what that woman meant, even though she did not know the woman. It was, the way they try to insult your intelligence is something that just beats my imagination. It is clear to me that these people are not accountable to anybody. They don't care what damage they do. They are just determined to just make sure they free ride in the fancy cars that they are in there for themselves. And that is why I'm doing this. I keep repeating it. That is why I'm doing this. They should challenge me. I will point to the individual I'm talking about. I will mention the name if I recall it. I'm not, and I see, I'm ready to stand and repeat this thing anywhere, because what is being done, what was done to me, is the most wicked thing that could be done to anybody after you've experienced trauma from abuse. For me to then go through that experience on all the places I was going to for help, that is pure wickedness. That is pure wickedness, and I cannot keep quiet about it. So get ready. I'm going to be like your worst nightmare. I said that over 7 years ago. I'm saying it again. I will never shut up until I see a difference. I will continue to speak about every single thing I experience, and I will continue to call out everybody that I feel necessary until I see a change. That is what I'm going to do. Yeah, one thing I need to throw in here now is the fact that some people do not understand. I've noticed that when I went to all these places, including even the private establishments where they had all these kind of NGOs and all that, most of the people I was speaking with were not entrepreneurs. Most of them were not people who had to function by delivering results to clients in order to gain income. These were people that were assured of a monthly salary regardless of how lazy or how hardworking they were. In other words, if they didn't put in extra effort, they just did the barest minimum that the job required according to the job description, they were assured of their salary, the complete amount. It didn't matter. It was a consistent amount. They could look forward to it. They could borrow based on it, and so they had no problems. In my case, I was an entrepreneur, and I was a struggling entrepreneur going through abuse in my home. I couldn't concentrate. I've told stories in the interviews I granted in which I had to carry my laptop and run into the toilet because this one was shouting into my headset when I was giving support to a client online from Uganda. So that was what I was going through. So how do you have the mindset, the mental state, maintain the right mental state to be able to deliver the quality of work that will get your client to release money to you for whether the job you've completed or the next phase of the job you have to do? How do you maintain the state of mind that will enable you to function effectively, to do your marketing, to influence people to buy from you and all of that? Because I was not guaranteed of any income. I was a guy that was struggling to build my brand. And this was the period when the woman in the house with me chose to torment me psychologically, emotionally, verbally, and physically. Sometimes I would be typing with my arm in a sling. For 3 weeks I was typing. I had to continue work. I couldn't tell my clients. It was only in 2020, after the gash to my forearm, that I saw blood all over my room floor. That was when I sent pictures to all my clients. I told them, listen, in case you hear that I'm dead, please know that I didn't die on my own. I didn't commit suicide. This woman killed me. That was when they all got to know. Before then, I never said anything to anybody. But I'm saying that it was affecting my ability to work. I was losing clients. As I speak to you now, I've lost 2 clients again. Because even now that we're trying to co-parent, she continues to do all these things that are designed to break me or cut me off from my children, to turn my children against me. Everything I'm teaching my children, she tells them is irrelevant, even though she does not know how to make money. I'm making money supporting my children, and she continues to tell them that what I am teaching them to do, which is how I make money, one of several ways in which I make money. She's telling them it's rubbish, and yet she's somebody that doesn't even have the capacity to earn income to take care of them without them coming to me every time. That is madness, because she knows all she has to do is paint me to be a bad guy. Then she'll get sentiment from everybody. They'll be giving her money. That is how she lives. That is how she lives. And I'm saying that we need to stop this nonsense. It is irresponsible behavior. We need to make women more accountable for their bad behavior and stop enabling the abusive women. It's wrong. So these people readily judged me based on what the woman said. A woman who did not have the ability to, who did not even want to work. As I told in my story, she didn't want to work. She kept telling me I was supposed to be giving her money. She wasn't supposed to work. Igbo men don't tell their wives to work. She lies now, but that was how she was living. She was trying to manipulate me. I told her, I said, if you're not satisfied with what I'm giving you, I'm not going to steal. I'm trying to build up here, and you are making it difficult for me. If you don't like it, go and get a job. What jobs could she do? She didn't even finish secondary school and get WAEC. She's lying about that again. But my point is, she would tell these people, and then they will turn on me and begin to tell me, oh, somebody's paying money for you, you are borrowing money, you can't provide, and all of that. I am trying to do my business. I'm trying to build my brand. Somebody is tormenting me in the home, making me lose clients, letting me lose customers. I'm good at what I do. I earn money internationally. I went to another country, I reinvented myself, came back doing much better. How many people can make claims to making money internationally, selling spreadsheets to different parts of the world? If only I had a partner that gave me peace of mind in my home, income will not be an issue. I've proven it again and again, because today I function without having to go out, and people gladly send me money, and I'm not a Yahoo boy. These people don't even understand that, because their salary, and as many of them are going to learn it hard lesson later on, before by the time they retire. But in the meantime, they have to pass judgment on me, because they do not even think. Because if they were thinking, they would understand that if I don't have the peace of mind in my home, how do I focus to do job that is intellectual? I'm a content creator. I'm a software developer. How do I do that when I have somebody shouting in my house at 2 a.m. in the morning and throwing things at me and trying to pour excreta on my body? How do I function? They never address that. Every time she opened her mouth, she'll be telling them I didn't have money, I was borrowing money, I was doing this. It doesn't make sense. Borrowing money is not a crime. Building the business is not a crime. Starting humbly is not a crime. Why are you trying to shame a man who is trying to be honest and who is showing responsibility to his family? I don't womanize, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't stay out late at night. I'm a work-at-home father. I have done everything right, and yet I'm being shamed for it. That's where I have a problem with all the people that I've reached out to, with few exceptions. And that's why I'm doing this educational series, because people need to know, men need to know what they're up against. And all of you who think it can never happen to you, understand you may have a loved one that it might happen to. And if you don't know what to do to help the person, I hope you will not have somebody that will commit suicide because you chose not to help, or because you didn't know how to help. So be wise and listen to what I'm saying and take some lessons from it. So that's it. I would encourage you, do not leave this video without sharing it, without liking this video, and without clicking the subscribe button, so you can follow up on the next videos I'm going to post. If you want our children to grow up balanced, then we need to ensure that their fathers stay in their lives, and we need to ensure that men are able to function as real men and not as feminine men. We do not need that. I hope you understand. Please support the channel. Please support by sharing the videos, by liking the videos. Thank you.